I'm Tom Hibbert and welcome to Winning Strength Online. And this is the competition debrief process that I run through with each of my clients after they compete. So I suppose we should start with exactly what happened at the competition. Went through my normal warm-up procedures, which is exactly what I do in the gym. Got my pre-workout, everything all sorted. I did 60 kilos, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. Went out to the opener at 170, hit it nice and easily. And then when I went to 179, I missed it on two different attempts. So I missed the two 179s, but what I want to do with my debrief process is show you exactly what I do with my clients and kind of look at the whys behind that happened on the day. So when I debrief with a client, what I like to do is look at three questions. What went well? What can we improve? And what are we doing next? And the process, I took the skeleton structure from a guy called Yehuda Shinner and his book, Think Like a Winner. This guy was hired by Sir Clive Woodward just before he was working with the England rugby team as they built up to their World Cup win in 2003. And he's an Israeli psychologist, and his book gives you loads and loads of detailed clues. And one of the things is debriefing. He actually recommends you should be debriefing constantly after every session, but I specifically throw this in at the end just so I can look at exactly what happened with the client and their process as they went through towards the competition. What went well is always an interesting question to ask, especially from a coach's point of view, because people seem hardwired to focus on what didn't go so well and what they can work on to improve. But it's really important to look at what did go well, because you want to be able to replicate that. And if you want to replicate it, you should focus on it, praise yourself, which is another thing people don't do, so you can move forward with the process. So what went well for me? To start with, I managed to open on 170. I've never opened on a weight that heavy before, so that would be a PB opener of sorts. So next time I go to a comp, I'll be confident on hitting that on my opening weight. It was such a high opener for me, it was only 7 kilos off my all-time best, which was what one of the judges commented on as I walked past him. He was asking me what my 1RM was, and I said 177. He's like, you're doing 170 as your opener and your PB is 177? I said, well, yeah, because I've got lofty expectations or lofty targets today. So PB opener and managing to hit 170 on a inverted commas bad day is quite a successful outing when it comes down to it. Body weight managed to increase towards the end, so I was quite happy with that. I managed to just tip the scales over 105 before I went, and that was the idea. I wanted to be a little bit heavier, train a little bit heavier, ideally for a little bit longer, drop for the weigh-in, replete or replenish, and then be able to compete a bit heavier, which will allow me to lift more weight. The clean, last time out, was a problem. When I competed and managed the 177, I missed the clean on the first attempt, then I cleaned it, missed the press, then I managed to clean it and get the press within 30 seconds of that. So it's always a case of, are you weaker in the clean or are you weaker in the press? And then it's trying to gauge where to work on. So in this competition, I managed to fix that because I changed my technique, but that actually caused an elbow issue, which we're going to talk about in the what can we improve. The other thing personally to me that was very, not impressive, but important for me was processing of what happened. Now, normally when I build up to a competition, I've taken 8 weeks, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and then if something doesn't come off, maybe I come second or whatever, I tend to beat myself up, and that mood and low can last for days and days and days. With the help of a good friend in the car, just chatting to him on the way back, cheers Rob, and just looking at things from a different perspective, looking at gratitude, I was able to come away from that. Now, I was in a pattern that I used to be in. And the reason that pattern happens is because all of the neurotransmitters that build up during that process remind you of what you used to think. So it reminded me of all these old thought patterns because the neurotransmitters were inside my system and readily available in my brain. So they brought up old feelings, old patterns, but I managed to kind of get out of that, which again was very important for me, which I can take into the next competition. So we move on to what can we improve? And again, I am like everybody else where I can pick out a million things, but I'm just going to narrow it down and look at maybe the 3, maybe 4 most important things that I can look at for the next comp. Now, what I like to do is focus on things I can control instead of complaining about factors that might have put me off. For instance, I could say that my elbow tendonitis caused me to miss the lift, but it's not productive. What I would try and do with the client, myself in this position, is why did that elbow tendonitis happen? So elbow tendonitis is something that happened because I changed my clean technique. When the clean was on my belly or belt, and I come up and I extend, there's a little extension there, which means my radial or ulnar deviation is not strong enough. My brachyradialis wasn't handling it. So the easy fix is make sure that those tissues are more conditioned and stronger for the next round. I'm gonna be more conditioned and stronger for the next round because I've gone through that process of building up to those heavy cleans. I don't believe I need to do heavy cleans. I just need to think and get this tissue in my forearm better prepared for next time. Obviously, making sure I can rest so tendonitis and things like that don't happen. So maybe the program design element could be we work 2 weeks from the chest, 2 weeks from the floor. Next thing that I would look at to improve would be general inflammatory food intake. I found my recovery wasn't optimal, and you can throw all of the different modalities in, but if you're not sleeping well and you're not eating well, so to speak, the inflammation is going to rise, and then that's going to cause more problems and means you can't recover from certain twinges, niggles, minor little things like that. So that's another thing I'm going to look at to improve for the next one. The third thing that I want to improve for the next is mindset. In all honesty, I wasn't massively excited and motivated on the day, and this was quite weird for me. Maybe I thought it was going to be too easy. Maybe I expected things to happen, expected things to kind of fall together for me. I had a few minor setbacks leading up, but I was still confident that I'd be able to at least reach 180 as a 3 kilo PB. But on the day, I wasn't amped up, I wasn't having fun. So what I need to do is take a step back and mimic competitions within the gym, mimic my mindset within the gym setting, have fun with things, because on the day there was nothing. I was really flat. I just got off the phone, or I was messaging a good friend of mine, and she said I didn't see a spark in this build-up compared to last time, which is probably true. I don't think I wanted it as much this time. So what I need to do is look at my mindset and see how I approach the game day and how I set myself up and how I'm thinking there. So the last element to look at is what's next. And as I've mentioned, I need to kind of look at my mindset to figure that out. But I know me, and anyone that knows me knows deep down that I'm a stubborn motherfucker that will want to keep going until he achieves it. So whether the record is still 186 or 190, maybe somebody's increased it, I know that I'm going to still want to keep going. So this is only a minor setback. And after a minor setback, it will definitely feel sweeter when I'm able to overcome that and be able to hit the world record. So I still think I've got the world record in me. I still think I can build up to it, but I need to go back to my roots. I don't believe I'm one of those genetically gifted individuals. This comp prep, I approach things a little bit differently. I approach things with, let's just get a 5 kilo PB here and there. I didn't approach things where I did 2 a days extra eccentric work, which I think will all lead to me being able to achieve a higher strength level the next time out. Thank you for taking the time to watch me through this 8-week log peak series. Although the result wasn't exactly what I wanted, I certainly learned a lot about myself and my training and what I need to do to move forward, and I hope you guys are able to take something away from it as well. If you are interested in learning more or increasing your strength in the press, please go to the website, check out the WSO membership or the Press Like Hicks program. They can be guaranteed to help your knowledge and help you develop that winning strength that you're after.